How to measure armor, specifically helmets, in your slicing software can be a little bit tricky. We're going to start with a simple helmet, this Bo Katan from Marco with Mystery Makers. We're going to come up here to the measure tool that should be on all slicers. You just pick 2 points and it'll show you, but I want to specifically show you when you go in the middle of the helmet trying to figure out that nose piece. It's very difficult to get a straight line. It will show you the angle and you can get your trig books out and try to remember how to get that straight line across if you want, but this will get you a rough guesstimate. However, another tool is on the scale button. If we look here, we can see the actual millimeters for the X, Y, and Z axis. So that gets us the width, the depth, and the height of the entire model. So what we want to do whenever we're trying to scale up and down to try to fit our measurements, we want to make sure we hit the Stays Uniform button or whatever it is labeled in your slicer, so that when you change one of these measurements, it changes it in ratio for all the measurements. That way you don't lose proportion on your helmet, you don't lose the screen accuracy or whatever the original file maker intended. And there we go, we've scaled it down a little bit. Oh, but one of my numbers does seem to be a little bit smaller than I anticipated. If you look above these numbers, you can also see by what scale you've actually reduced it down. But in this case, I do want to go ahead and increase this one back up because, again, you want to account for glasses, you want to account for any apparatus you want to put in there, and you especially want to account for your nose. And we're moving on to the method of actual printing a wireframe of the helmet. Marco provided this one for this particular helmet, but I'm just going to use this as a guide to create my own so that you can see how to do it if the maker doesn't provide it. But I would always ask the file maker if they have a wireframe available of the helmet. All you're really doing is you're cutting your piece down into digestible chunks that can be printed quickly. So in this case, this bottom piece is about the bottom 10 millimeters or so of the model. We're coming back in and we're going to do a horizontal slice, well, a vertical slice, so that we can get a ring of the upper part of the dome so that we can get the topmost part of the dome and make sure that the length of the helmet is appropriately sized. And there we go. Next, we're going to come and do the front portion. I kept the visor piece on the model, make it a little bit easier to visualize, but we're just going to do another vertical cut, making sure if you use the tools on the side and you don't manually change those angles, it will stay perfectly straight, and you just keep it to the 90 degree, 180 degree, so on and so forth. And I took a little bigger chunk out here. You don't have to do as big as I did here. I think I probably did 1.5 centimeters. Boom. We've got the front piece to try to make sure your nose fits in there. The next piece is the back side. So we kind of want to get as decent of a ring around the back end of the helmet. There we go. Now we've got the back end. Now we need to make sure the back half of the dome fits us properly. So we're going to take another slice right down the middle on this guy. Make sure you have the right model section highlighted. And there we go. We have all of our pieces, and be sure you remember your scale that you've set this to and orient everything accordingly. Put it on as few build plates as possible. This should only take you a few hours to print in total. There we go, and I think I can just get this down to 3 plates. Orient, yay. Something I forgot to do is you can also reduce the infill way down on this. You can reduce your walls down to like 2, infill down even like 5%. These do not have to be built heavy at all. It'll help reduce your time down and your wait period for them to be finished. And there you go. We have a completed wireframe helmet to see if it actually fits all your dimensions. Front, back, nose, eyes, and neck.